In this, it's a movement, is what it is. Rock the Indigenous Vote is a movement about Indigenous people in this country and the ability to enact their right to vote in this federal election.
So what's going to happen here tonight?
Tonight, there's going to be a gathering. We're expecting at least 300 people to show up for a round dance. We're calling it a flash mob round dance. And the reason being is that we just put the call out over 24 hours ago. And so within the 24 hours, we've had 300 people through social media say that they're going to attend. So we're looking forward to Indigenous and non-Indigenous people attending. And so it's going to be a really good time to come together as the Indigenous community from all over the place. There's people from Northwest Territories here, there's people from Saskatchewan here, there's Albertans, so we have people from all over. And there's a national conference going on missing and murdered people. And so the focus on that, of course, there's Indigenous women that have gone missing or murdered, and over 1,200 in this country. So that's one of the things we're looking at as a part of some of the issues that we're facing as Indigenous people in this country. It's really important because we, for the first time historically, haven't voted in federal elections. We realize we have a voice, and we're going to use our vote to put people in that are going to assist with our causes and Canadians' causes, which is climate change. You know, you look at water and food security, that's issues that all Canadians are concerned about. And so we need to enact our right. It was only until 1960 that we actually were given the right to vote. So we need to, as Indigenous people, get out there and vote for a political party that's going to assist us in implementing, for instance, the UN Declaration on Indigenous Rights, and also looking at ways of also a national inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And so these are the things that we're looking at as a people, you know, that are high on the priority list. There's some Indigenous people that don't vote because there's, you know, they look at our independent nations as sovereign nations. And so looking at it, they might say, well, it waters down our treaty rights that we have with the Crown, which is Canada right now, right? They took on the responsibility through treaties. And so some feel that, you know, by voting, they're not really a part of Canada, they're a part of a nation. And so that's sort of the idea. But if you don't vote, and some haven't in the past, and look what has happened under this past regime with Harper. It's essentially, you know, our rivers, our lakes, the land, everything has been, it's just been, yes, it's a real mess in terms of climate and climate change and what has happened to Mother Earth. So we're looking at ways of trying to help that. And for the next 7 generations, we always look at that. That's our belief system, is that, you know, our grandchildren and what we're doing now affects 7 generations down. So we're hoping that tonight that we can get this message out to the masses and to Canadians that are watching this, that it does matter. Our vote does matter. Our voice matters.
You know, as Indigenous people, what we have for us that's the strongest is our culture. And within our custom, it's about being collective. It's about standing together. It's about working together. And as we stand here today, our goal here today is what? We want to rock the Indigenous vote, eh? You know, in our country, we've had relationship with the government. For many years, the relationship has been in a way that the government has always told us what was good for us. Were they right? No. So what we need to do is we need to redefine what this relationship is. And we need everyone to come up, to stand up, to take that action, to take a step forward, to get yourself registered and vote. We want to make sure that when we have an opportunity right now, we want to create a vote and we need to create a vote strong enough that we have a voice in Ottawa. To have a voice in Ottawa allows us to be heard, and so that's important for us. So I encourage you all to come out to vote, to get registered, to vote, and choose the best candidate. Choose the one that's going to help us create the change that we want. So with that, I want to welcome you to this Treaty 6 territory. This place has always been a gathering place for Indigenous people. It belongs to all of us, and we share it together in a beautiful way. So with that, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
I don't know if you can hear me, but hello everybody. I'm Cree, and I'm from Hobima, Musqueam, but I live in the United States, and I worked 2 presidential elections, and guess what we did? We got a black guy elected. And we went further. The president employed Indian people right in the White House. We can have people in the House of Parliament, in the Prime Minister's office. You know what we did? We did a push in Indian country. We said, now's our time. Right now is our time to be heard. Right now. This moment is going to pass. This is our time. This is our election to take back. Your voice matters. All of you that can vote, put your hand up. Woo! Yeah! All of you can establish a new government. All of you tell the government what you want. You tell the government. This is your trust responsibility. Don't wait for them. You tell them. It's our time to act right now. Let's get this done, everybody.
Including me. I recognize many faces here, a lot of powerful women, that's good to see. I'm very proud that in my party we have 2 Indigenous leaders, Mario Saganash and Jonathan Genet Dardan from Quebec. We have a record number of Indigenous candidates in this election, 22 across Canada. I'm so proud that Melody Lepine from Nikasu Cree, Cameron Alexis, you know Cameron Alexis, the former regional chief for Alberta, and Aaron Paquette, renowned Aboriginal artist. So I am counting on you to get out there and vote so that you can fight for the United Nations Declaration, so you can fight for the Truth and Reconciliation Accord to be implemented, and you can fight for your rights and the rights of your kids and your grandkids.
So not too far away.
And you're
Louder? All right. I flew in to town, so I'm glad that I could make it for this event. It's really important that we all unite together right now because the election time is very crucial for us. What you've seen so far for the past 10 years is nothing good. Nothing good for us, nothing good for First Nations people and also other Canadians. The government failed us. I feel that the government wasn't created to work for us, it was created to work against us. And even with the murdered and missing Indigenous women, the fact that our Prime Minister right now doesn't consider our women a priority shows what he thinks of us. It shows how little he thinks of us. So I'm glad that I'm speaking up for our women. I'm glad that people are actually listening, and we just recently launched an inquiry on our own. The government hasn't launched an inquiry, so this is something I did with the Chiefs of Ontario. We launched our own, so if you want to donate to this inquiry that we were putting together, it's called Who Is She? Whoisshe.ca is where you can go and donate. I also think that it's really important for our young people to vote. I think it's important for you guys to educate yourselves on what all the parties have to offer. And I think it's important that we do unite, we do stand up for our rights, we fight for what we need to fight for. Because all the bills that are being passed, the fact that we're being treated like terrorists, that we can't even fight for our own land, our own rights, our water, our environment is at stake with the government that we currently have. And these are things that we need to fight for. This isn't just a First Nations problem, this is a Canada problem. Yeah!
Hey!
Hey,